In order to fully understand all the concepts and terms that will be brought up and used to explain inflection, start with the orientation for this course, which is the first video of this playlist, and move forward from there in order of the rest of the playlist. This will be the first out of the 15 videos explaining inflection route number 1. And as explained in the orientation, inflection route number 1 and 2 are not a rule, but each a set of rules. So we will be starting with inflection route number 1, which means that we will look into all the rules that altogether constitute inflection route number 1 and learn which one to apply in which situation. And also, as explained in the orientation, whether we will apply the rule of inflection route number 1 or 2 depends on the ending that we are using, since some endings belong to inflection route number 1 and some to inflection route number 2. You can download a PDF file through the link in the description that will list and show you the endings that belong to each route. So, the first situation within inflection route number 1 is when a display form of a verb or adjective ends with the vowel a once ta is erased. For example, 가다, 가다, 가다 is the display form of the verb go. And you can see that in this case, the display form ends with the vowel a once ta is erased. So in this situation, in order to inflect the ta ending from the display form so that we can use a new ending that actually carries an actual grammatical function or attribute, we will apply a two-step formula. Step number 1, erase ta, which we already did. And step number 2, immediately attach the new ending that you're trying to use. So in this case, let's use the ending for actual form present tense, which is 요, 요. Since 요 is an ending that belongs to inflection route number 1. So according to step number 2, I can attach 요, and now we have 가요, 가요, which is the actual form present tense of go instead of the display form of go that I cannot use. So, in this case, if I change the ending into the ending for actual form past tense, which is 써요, 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 since 써요 is also an ending that belongs to inflection route number 1, and attach it according to step number 2, after, of course, erasing ta according to step number 1, actual form past tense, now I have 갔어요, 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 which is the actual form past tense of the verb go, which is went. So, we can actually place went in a sentence since it is an actual form with an actual ending and say something like I went alone. So, In Korean, anything that is too obvious according to the context and situation should be omitted, and they do not usually stay in the sentence. So for example, let's say, I is too obvious because it usually is. For example, if someone asks me the question, who did you go with? And if my answer is, I went alone, well, of course I'm talking about I. Of course the subject is I. So let's operate without the subject I, which leaves us with a verb and an adverb alone. So the Korean sentence using 갔어요 will look like 혼자 alone 갔어요 went. For another example, 자다 is the display form of the verb sleep. You can see that also in this case, the display form ends with the vowel a once ta is erased. So in this situation, in order to inflect the ta ending from the display form so that we can use some kind of a new actual ending that carries an actual grammatical function or attribute, we will of course apply the same two-step formula. Step number 1, erase ta, which we already did, and then step number 2, immediately attach the ending you want to use. In this case, let's once again use the ending 써요 for actual form past tense. And once again, 써요 is an ending that belongs to inflection route number 1. So, according to step number 2, I can immediately attach the ending because I already erased ta according to step number 1. So if I do that, now we have 잤어요, which is the actual form past tense of the verb sleep, which is slept. So for example, we can actually place it in a sentence since it is an actual form with an actual ending and say something like, I slept early. So in this case, the Korean sentence using 잤어요 will look like 일찍 잤어요, slept early, as a way of saying I went to bed early. Now once again, in Korean, the general theme is to omit. Erase anything that is too obvious according to the context and situation, and usually the subject I is obvious. So for example, if someone says, well, you look energetic today, and my answer is, yes, I slept early. I went to bed early last night, for example. Well, of course, the subject is I. The second situation within inflection route number 1 is when a display form ends with the vowel 어 once ta is erased. For example, 일어서다 is the display form of the verb stand up. And you can see that in this case, the display form ends with the vowel 어 once ta is erased. So in this situation, in order to inflect the ta ending from the display form so that we can use an ending that carries actual grammatical function and attribute, we will apply the same two-step formula that we applied in the previous situation. Step number 1, erase ta, which we already did, and step number 2, immediately attach the ending that you want to use. So in this case, let's use the ending for have to, which is 야돼요, have to. And 야돼요 is also, of course, an ending that belongs to inflection route number 1. So according to step number 1, I erased 다, and according to step number 2, I can immediately attach 야 돼요. 일어서야 돼요. 일어서야 돼요. 일어서야 돼요. And now it is no longer just stand up, now it's have to stand up. So for example, we can actually place it in a sentence since it is an actual form with an actual ending and say something like, we have to stand up right now. So first, let's take away the subject we. Because let's say the situation is me, I, and a friend of mine are at a concert, and we were told that within this fandom there is a rule that when a certain song starts playing, everyone stands up. So let's say in that situation, I'm going to tell my friend, we have to stand up right now. And of course, in that case, according to the context and situation, the subject we will be too obvious. And we have to stand up as our verb. I am not going to look at have to stand up as 4 separate grammatical components because we simply inflected the verb stand up into a version that includes an ending that grammatically plays the role of have to. 일어서야 돼요. And then we're going to use one word that means right now. So in this case, the Korean sentence can look like 지금, 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 right now, 일어서야 돼요. 지금 일어서야 돼요. 지금 일어서야 돼요. And that would be the equivalent of saying we have to stand up right now in English. Okay, so in the next video, we will move on to the next situation within inflection route number 1 and keep moving forward until we cover each and every situation and how to apply inflection route number 1 within each of them. Once again, inflection is by far the most important aspect of learning Korean. So if you fully grasp inflection through this course, you are not taking a step forward, you are taking 1,000 steps forward. So don't give up, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.